Good morning, good afternoon, or early afternoon, everyone. I'm going to give it a few more minutes here before we get started. We do have a pretty large number of registrations here this morning, so I want to give it a few more minutes to allow people to join. We'll get started at 2 minutes after 11:30. So 11:32, we'll get started. Okay, we'll go ahead and jump into it. Welcome again, everyone. My name is Kim Davis. I'm the CFO at Versant Health, a subsidiary of MetLife, and also board member at FEI. I want to start by thanking you all for your continued support and for joining us this morning. We have another great session for you today. And judging by the number of registrations and attendance at today's event, you guys are just as excited as I am to hear from our speaker today. We have Scott Kliewer here with us from PHP Agency, the fastest growing financial services marketing organization in the country. And he's here to educate us on building generational wealth. And what I am personally most excited about is learning how to be our own bank. So really, really powerful stuff to share with you this morning. But before I hand it over to Scott, I got to get through those housekeeping items. So first of all, if you need CPE credits for today's webcast, please be sure to respond to the polling questions that will be delivered throughout the presentation. If you have any questions during the presentation, please feel free to put those in the chat box. We'll come back around and address those at the end. We just want to make sure we get through the presentation first. We also welcome any comments in the chat throughout the presentation to keep things interactive. Lastly, I want to invite you all to our June event. So we are fortunate to have Alexander Marr from the Federal Reserve joining us once again to give us an economic outlook and overview. This promises to be another insightful discussion, and it's usually a very popular event, so I encourage you to register early. It will be virtual. We look forward to seeing everyone in person soon, later in the year, but for now, we'll continue to be virtual. So with that, I will hand it over to Scott to take us through today's presentation.
Hi, how you doing? Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Gotcha. Afternoon. Thank you, Denise. Thank you, Kim, for allowing me to come in and present. I'm Scott Kliewer here, one of the co-owners, one of the marketing directors for PHP Agency, and just real quick background on us. We're a financial marketing organization. We market and sell financial products for the top financial companies, your AIGs, your companies like your Nationwide, your MetLifes, American National Life Group, John Hancock, companies like that. And basically right now we're the fastest growing company in this industry. We're only 11 years old. We already have around 23,000 licensed agents. So we're growing very, very fast. And I'm actually one of the co-owners. I'm originally from Rochester, New York. I ended up moving out to California, and that's when I got started in the company. I'm actually came up in education, and where I was a teacher. Then I moved up to running schools. And basically, I got into this business on a part-time basis in the beginning, really, because I started learning about that. The one, people aren't taught about money, right? And I don't know about you, I was raised in typical middle-class type family. My father was in upper management at Kodak in Rochester, New York. And I kind of saw where Kodak went in the 90s and everything, and where that company really started struggling, where people lost a lot of money in the market with them. Also, people lost pensions. And I kind of really just thought I didn't want to go that route, but loved being in the business. And ended up getting into this business, like I said, on a part-time basis. And again, I was raised in that type of environment coming up. But one thing that I wasn't taught about was money. My dad was big into stocks and trying to teach me different things. I just didn't really want to spend all the time learning my stocks. I didn't really want to, learn about how to lose money or short everything. That just wasn't really me. And really all I ended up knowing was, and it may be a lot of you on here, I just knew either put money into the bank, put money into maybe your stock market, your 401k and IRA. That was really about it. That was really all I knew. I didn't know about how to really build wealth, not lose money. I didn't really know about what really kind of the top 1% of America has been doing for a while. What the Rockefellers have been doing, what the Rothschilds have done, what people like Walt Disney did to start Walt Disney World, what Ray Kroc did to start a McDonald's and stuff. I didn't know that until I started getting into this business and learning. And once I did, I was like, wow, we need to really teach a lot of people and stuff. So I'm gonna kind of jump into some concepts here about how to create your own bank, how to build generational wealth. And we'll go through and we'll kind of go a couple different polling questions and stuff like that. And so hopefully today, maybe, I know we got some different CEOs on here. I know we got some CFOs and stuff. You may be able to, say a whole lot more than this than I do and some of your expertise and everything. But hopefully we can maybe bring some value. Maybe there's something on here that you want to learn a little bit more about and stuff like that. We'll talk about that more at the end. But again, today's really more of just adding some value, teaching about maybe some concepts that maybe you didn't think about, but have actually been around for over 100+ years. So I'm going to share with you my screen. Kim, if you can do me a favor, give me a thumbs up if you can see my screen when I'm sharing.
Okay, it's still coming up. I can see the screen, but not in presentation mode yet. Good.
Are we good?
Yes.
All right, perfect. So I'm going to kind of jump into, again, there's a couple different places where you can grow money, everything, but how we're growing money really only grows 3 different ways. We a lot of times in finance that we make it very complicated, a lot more complicated. It's actually very simple. Money is only really grown in 3 different ways. So let me kind of go over that. We call it, obviously 3 different ways money grows, but to kind of go over this, the 3 ways is fixed, variable, and indexed. And what do we mean by that? What's a fixed account? Fixed account is, we all have these. It's your bank account. It's your CD. Maybe it's a money market. Maybe it's a government bond, right? It's a fixed account. What do everybody like about this, right? What are there's pluses and minuses of everything of how money grows, right? What's the plus of it? It's safe. You can't lose any money, right? Ken, if I was able to put in $40,000 into the bank account, stock market drops tomorrow, I still have $40,000 in the bank. It's completely safe, right? What's the negative? You really can't make any money in the bank account, not at all, right? Maybe 0 to 1%. This is not like back in the 80s where you can get like an 18% CD. So why do so many different people put money into the bank? Well, it's safe and it is liquidable. But if we're all visual learners and stuff, right? So how does that look? If it's actually growing on a chart, how does it look? It's growing very, very small. What does that mean? Well, I may be smarter to put it in between my bed mattresses, right? I may be able to, I may be a little bit smarter to kind of save on some fees, because at the end of the day, inflation is growing at a higher rate than what you're earning in the bank. Well, what's another way that money grows? Variable. Predominantly where everyone is growing money for building retirement. I'm sure we all want to grow and build retirement wealth. We all want to be able to build generational wealth. Well, but most of us are growing it in a variable. What are examples of a variable? Stock market, right? Your 401k, your 403bs, your IRAs, your Roth IRAs, your cryptocurrency now, right? Your Bitcoin, they're all variables. What's the pluses? Remember, there's a plus and negative of everything. What's the plus? Plus is you can get a lot of growth, 25%, 40%, 50%, some things, even higher than that. Well, what do we all know about a variable, right? What do we all know about stock market? Stock market can go up. What else can happen? It can go down, right? So that means you can lose all or more or a portion of your money right there, right? And so, sorry, just kind of lost everybody's picture here, right? So how does that grow? How does that grow on a graph, right? We're going to kind of see that, hey, we make some money, we lose some money, we make a little bit more, we lose it, and then 2001 hits, boom, we lose a lot of money. 2008 hits, the housing market and stuff crashes, we lose a whole bunch of money. We've all lost money before in the market and stuff like that. We're like, Scott, okay, that's great. That's just part of the game. Got to make money, you got to lose money, stuff like that, right? Well, now we're going to talk about something else called indexing. Indexing, a lot of times people haven't necessarily heard about this. Indexing is, we teach people how to get an indexing through either a life insurance policy called an index universal life insurance policy, or another type of way to get into indexing is a fixed index annuity, right? Growing money and stuff in an annuity, in an index annuity or in an index universal life insurance policy. Let me kind of talk to you a little bit about this. What's the plus of it? One is it's safe. You can never lose money. You have a disposition to never lose money whatsoever. You actually have a contract with a life insurance company or an annuity company that you can't lose money whatsoever. It doesn't matter what the market is doing, you're guaranteed to never lose the money. Okay, well, what's the negative? Because that sounds pretty good. Well, what's the negative? You're capped. Meaning you can get a lot of the gains, but you're kind of capped, right? You have a floor of 0 and typically 9.5% ceiling based off the company. The product annuities may give you a little bit higher of a ceiling. So what do I mean by that? Well, let's say the market does a 20% gain, right? Like last month, the market did in April, it just gained 20%, right? This hypothetical did 20%. Okay, well, they would credit you. You hit the ceiling, you get 9%. All right, well, let's say following month, this month in May, the market does 8%, which by most people's standards are pretty happy with an 8% gain. Okay, cool. Well, how much would you get of that? You'd actually get all of it. You get all those gains because it's within that window. Okay, so what if the market does a negative 38%, like we did when all this whole quarantine and COVID all started? Boom, everybody lost a whole lot of money, like we've seen before in 2001, like we've seen in 2008. People can lose big gains in the market. So how much do you lose here? Remember, safety. You have a 0% floor, which means you hit the floor, you lost no money. Your brother lost money, your nephew lost money, your co-workers, whatever, lost money. But if you have your money grown in an index, you don't lose any money. So how does this look on a graph? This starts to show up. Meaning when the market goes up, you're getting most of the gains. Market goes down and is crashing, your money is protected. Your principal and your interest is protected. You're not losing. You're kind of on hold. And then when the market comes back up again, you're starting to gain. So you can't ever lose money. And so if I'm going to kind of go through this right now, most people are looking at this and they're all right, well, I like a couple of different things, but what do I like about when, with fixed? People don't like to lose money, so they want it to be safe. What do they not like? They can't make any money. Scott, it's good. I talk to people, talk to some CFOs, CEOs and stuff like that. They're like, I only have so many places I can put money. Scott, I can't put any more money to my 401k. Scott, I make too much money for my Roth IRA. I can't even qualify. Where can I put money? They start throwing in a ton of money into the bank. They can't make any money. The money doesn't grow for them. All right, so they start putting money into their variables. They like the growth. They don't like to lose money. Stock market, the last 10 years has done very well. The best 10-year gap ever in history. What do we think is probably going to happen? Right? We kind of know it's probably, maybe losing some money here, maybe do some of a correction. What do people like about index? Right? It's safe. But most people are okay with getting most of the gains in the market. And that's actually Denise or Kim. That's going to kind of bring me up to my first question here, my first polling question. You want to drop that in there. If you could grow your money in any one of these avenues, which would it be? And I'm not telling you to ever put in all your money into one basket, but if you could just pick one to kind of build in and stuff, where would you grow your money and stuff like that going on? Right, and I'm kind of seeing here where people are doing, well, it's kind of a battle there. Variable index, it's kind of neat to look at it. And I'm about 50-50, right? And so a lot of times when I go through this and talk, people are like, not really heard of indexing before, right? They're like, okay, I have, I have a fixed, I have a variable. I'm not really heard of indexing before. I'm kind of, a little bit confused. I haven't learned it. Maybe it's too good to be true. Right now, it looks pretty close. It looks like about 58%. Right now, we're saying index, 42% are kind of saying a variable, right? And so if we kind of go through here, let me get this off of here so I can see a little bit more. Gotcha. So now I'm going to go through here and talk about, have you guys ever heard this before of, hey, Scott, I know you got money in the market, so don't worry, it'll come back up. It went down, don't worry, it'll come back up. You're good. Oh, Scott, Kim, you don't really lose money, right? Judy, you don't really lose money until you actually take the money out. You guys ever hear those sayings before? I used to buy that and and think about that. That was kind of what was happening all the time. Let me go through here and do a little math equation, right? We call it kind of principal protection. And so obviously we don't like to lose money, but let me go through here. And let's say you have $100 in the stock market. We all just give you $100 in the stock market, right? Stock market goes down 50%. Okay, cool. How much money do you have, right? You just got $50. Stock market comes back up 50%, right? How much money do you have? You have $100. Stock market goes down 50%, comes back up 50%. And actually, Denise or Kim, that actually comes up to my next polling question. You want to bring that up. So if you can invest $100 in the stock market, the market goes down 50%. I'll just reread this. Is an educator in me, right? You are left with $50. The market goes back up 50%. How much money do you have? Give you a little bit more time there. Some people saying $100, some people saving 75. Gotcha. Perfect, actually, okay. About 88% said 75. Well, let's kind of see if you're right. Right, you lose 50% again, all right, or you gain back up 50. You're down 50, you're up 50. It should be a wash. It should be back even, right? X at 75. What happened? You did lose money. You lost $25. What does that mean? What do you got to do to get back even? The reality is that you have to basically almost double your losses to get back even. How long does that take? And that's what I learned was, man, that could take a while. For a lot of people in 2001, they lost 30, 40, 50% of their retirement. It took them 5, 6, 7 years to get back even. That's what happened in a couple of years after that. 2008, they just got even. Boom, they lost a whole bunch, right? And so we want to teach people how to just never lose money. So again, when we meet with people a lot and educate people, have fixed accounts. People have variable accounts. A lot of people have never heard of indexing accounts. Why is that? It's not being told a lot. Unfortunately, it should be, but it's not. These have been around for a while. So what we do is just like to teach and educate people about that. Now we're going to kind of shift here a little bit and talk about, those are the 3 ways that money grows, right? The 3 ways. It can grow in multiple different ways, but it really only grows 3 ways. Well, here's what's neat is, I didn't really know, but there's only 5 places really to grow money. There's 3 ways that it grows, but it's really only 5 homes that you can grow with it. We're going to go over this here. What are the 5 homes? You got banks. Yep, you can put money in the bank. You got your stock market. When I talk about stock market here, I'm talking more of like your day trading, your E-Trade, your Scotch trade, the typical day trading and stuff that someone may be doing. And also your qualified plans, which probably most people have that are on here right now. What do I mean by that? Your 401ks, your 403bs, your your IRAs stuff, typical qualified plans, IRS type plans, Roth IRAs and everything, right? And so let's go through here. And then the next one is, okay, real estate, commercial real estate, rental properties, owning your own home, real estate, and then life insurance. So these are really only the 5 places that you can grow money. But as we're going through here, obviously we know banks are fixed, stock market, qualified plans, real estate is variable. Life insurance that we just kind of learned is you can grow through indexing. So when we go through here and start to grow these, and we're building up, trying to grow wealth to build, for retirement, build generational wealth. If growing generational wealth is important to you like it is for me, I look at my kids, but I also look at my kids' kids. How do I be able to build wealth for them? How do I be able to start to have them, instead of they have to start out on the ground up, how can they start from my shoulders and move up? How can I give them a hand up already in life and teach them the skills and stuff? Well, I also want to talk to them and teach them about where this money grows. So when we start to rank these and start to score these, we want to look at what's important. What's important in growing and building wealth? Liquidity. Do I ever have access to this? Do I have to wait 10, 20, 30 years? Do I have to wait till I'm 60 to touch it? Is there safety? How safe is this? Right? With taxes, are there any tax advantages of it? Am I going to pay taxes now, taxes later, taxes never? Like how do taxes? I'm sure you would all agree, if you had $3 million, $5 million, $100 million built up for retirement, how much money do you want to give that to the government? Most people will probably say, None. Well, do we know those ways to do that, right? And then let's go through growth. Is your money going to work for you when you're not working? Is it going to be growing when you're on vacation? Is it going to be growing when you're sleeping, right? So let's go through this and look at it. So banks, we know banks are liquid. If I put money in there, and when we say liquid, we're typically talking about 2 to 3 days that you can get your money, right? Without any penalties. So liquid is definitely liquid. In stock market, yes, liquid. That's why you're day trading. You can move it around. Qualified plans, not liquid. Can't move that money around without penalties, early withdrawal penalties and stuff. It's not easy to. Real estate. Can't move money out of real estate. You just can't sell a home in a day or two and get money out of it, right? What about life insurance? Most people don't know life insurance is liquidable. You're growing it in a permanent policy and an index universal life policy. Guess what? The money that's in a death benefit is there, but the money you're building in savings, the cash value that's growing in it, that money is indexing the market. That money is liquidable. Based on how you're funding it, it's liquidable. All right, well, let's go through a safety. Can I lose any money in the bank? Nope, it's safe. Right, so the safest vehicle, obviously, if I'm under FDIC regulations and stuff, it's safe. Stock market. No, you can definitely lose money in the stock market. About qualified plans. We can lose there, right? In the 401ks, IRAs, even Roth IRAs. What about real estate? And you lose money in the real estate. Until 2008, most people will probably say no. Unfortunately, 2008 really showed us that you can definitely lose money in real estate. Life insurance. If you're in an indexing life insurance, you can't lose any. Remember, disposition and never lose money. Okay, well, what about taxes here? Are there any tax deductions or advantages in the bank? No, really isn't. What about the stock market? Nope, not at all, right? Maybe if you have some losses and stuff, but who wants to lose money, right? Oh, it's a write-off for my losses. But nobody wants losses. What about qualified plans? Your company's planning everything. That's a tax deduction. We all know that. It also can be a tax advantage if you're using the Roth, a Roth IRA, maybe a Roth 401k. There's actually some, advantages there. Unfortunately, most people don't do both, but there's definitely advantages there. What about real estate? Tax deductions. If I'm putting $100,000 into a property that I just bought, I'm not going to be able to deduct that at the end of the year, the money I put in. But there are a ton of tax advantages through owning real estate, right? You're fixing things up, you're taking a loss. There's all kinds of different advantages with taxes for that. What about life insurance? There's not a deduction for life insurance unless you're like a corporation and maybe you're doing an executive bonus. So I know there's a couple of different CEOs on here, a couple of different maybe CFOs, maybe something to look at for your company. You actually can do it for your company, but it's through an executive bonus. Put $40,000, $50,000 into a life insurance retirement type plan. That amount is actually a write-off for that company. But for most people, it is not at all write-off. There are tax advantages. Absolutely. All that money that's growing in a life insurance policy that's indexing that cash value and the death benefit is tax-free. You're never paying taxes on it. Similar to a Roth IRA, all that money, all that growth is growing tax-free, except there's no limitations like the Roth IRA. Well, let's go through here and talk about growth. Can you make any money in the bank? We know you can't make any money in the bank, right? Okay, what about stock market? Absolutely, you can make money. You can make money, growth and stuff in the qualified plans, growth in real estate. Life insurance, if you're indexing, absolutely, you can get a good amount of growth. So let's go through and score these. All right, let's go through here and score these and say, okay, how is scoring these? How does a bank do? Right, gets a 2 out of 5. How about a how does stock market do? 2 out of 5. Qualified plans, how does that do? 3 out of 5. Okay, 3 out of 5. A lot of times for a lot of people, they're only getting 2 out of 5 because not everybody does their traditional IRA or traditional 401k plus a Roth, right? And using that. What about real estate? 2 out of 5. What about life insurance? 4 out of 5. I kind of ask yourself, before we did this presentation, before we were kind of talking, did you ever think that life insurance, growing money and building money for retirement, growing money for wealth would have scored higher than life insurance? I'm sorry, that would have scored higher than stock market, than real estate. That's what we're hearing all the time being pitched up to us, right? That's 100%. So it kind of comes up to my next question here. That'll be my next polling question. You got to look at taxes here also. Taxes play a major, major factor in building generational wealth, building, being able to kind of create your own bank. So the next question is, in the future, do you expect taxes to go up, down, or stay the same? Whether you like Joe Biden, don't like Joe Biden, like Donald Trump, don't like Donald Trump, whoever you're for, independent, Republican, Democratic, in the future, let's just be realistic. Do you feel it's going to go up or go down? Oh, wow, that's a landslide right there. Give a couple more seconds for everybody to vote. Not one person has said stay the same. Okay, one person said, oh, we think it's going to go down. Everyone else thinks it's going to go up, right? Okay, so think about that. If money is going up, if taxes are going up in the future, where do you want to be building money? To be growing money growing money for the future. Think about this. Taxes fall into three different tax buckets. Tax now, tax later, tax never. If I'm growing my money in the tax later avenue, when are taxes going up? Well, everybody but one person said taxes are going up when? Later. Where's most of America, where most of us growing our money in a tax later avenue? 401ks, stock market, 403bs, right? Those are later avenues. Why don't we grow them in the tax never avenues? Most people don't know. They don't know that they exist. So let me kind of go over here and talk about a little bit more about what the wealthy, the elite do. And when I say I'm talking about wealthy, I'm talking about more of like the top 1%, not the top 3, 2%, the top 1% of America and around the world. What are they doing? Right now, CEOs, professional athletes, different coaches right now in professional sports, they're putting more money right now into IULs, Index Universal Life Insurance policies, than ever before. Why? Because they have a hard time qualifying for a Roth IRA. They want to grow money tax-free. They can't lose any money, right? But guess what? There's unlimited amount of money that they can put into it. Well, who else takes advantage of this? Corporations, banks. No, they don't do life insurance. No, a corporation can't have life insurance. Yeah, it's called COLA. Corporation-owned life insurance. That exists? Yup. Banks have life insurance. Bank-owned life insurance. It's called BOLI. So now think about that. Why would I'm looking at here, if I say a Rosa or a Sani, why would a bank have life insurance? Why would they do that? A bank can't die. A bank can't get cancer. They can't get hit by a car and die. Why would a bank have life insurance? So think about that, right? And so I'm actually bring this up to my last to my second type of polling question, right? My fourth question is, if you can pull that up. You can pull up the fourth polling question. Gotcha. Are you familiar with tax code, right? 7702, and how it can be used to build tax-free wealth? We kind of talked about that before, 3 tax buckets. I got a little ahead of myself, right? 3 different tax buckets. If you could grow money tax-free, tax code basically meaning through life insurance, you can grow money tax-free. You grow that. And that's interesting. Already 94% is already saying no, they haven't heard of it. And I know this is a finance group. People that have their CPAs that, have their accounting and stuff. And it's very interesting that this is a tax code. Probably a lot of people on here that can, take my lunch and how much that they know about taxes and stuff. But the tax code 7702 has been around for over 100 plus years. It actually was around even longer than that. They just created the tax code, I think around 107 years ago. Why? That's a money that you can grow through life insurance, and any money that's grown through life insurance grows tax-free, can be used as leveraged, right? And so why would a bank have life insurance? Now, again, don't take my word for it. Go and Google this. How much do banks have in life insurance? I'm not talking about a death benefit. How much money do they have on their books as cash, growing as an asset, growing in life insurance? Go through it. They have billions and billions of dollars growing in life insurance. Bank of America right now currently has a little over $22 billion growing in life insurance. Why? Why would they do that? Most conservative way to grow money. They're also going to be getting a good amount of growth in it, right? Good 5, 6, 7% on average. But think about it. It's liquidable. You can borrow and use that money. Well, I can borrow and use my money. Yep, you can borrow and use your money from it. You're never paying tax on it, right? You're never losing money. It's a great way to be able to start to create and be able to create your own banking system. Well, we kind of all agree that banks probably know a little bit more about banking than most of us. They know what to do. And that's basically what we do is we teach people through life insurance how to create a banking system where you can start to build and grow money where you're never losing money, using it tax-free and borrowing it from it and being able to build your own bank. Rockefellers started doing this, Rothschilds did this way back and started building this up. So it's neat. And so as I kind of wrap up here, our last polling question, if you can pull that up, ladies. As we kind of gone through here and wrap this up, my last question is, where can you borrow money from your account balance and principal continues to earn compounding interest? So think about that. If I'm building a college fund for my child and I borrow money from it, if I borrow $40,000, $50,000 and I take it out, it's gone. Okay, well, can I, if I'm in my 401k, can I borrow from it and it's still growing? Right? Let's see, where is it? Let's kind of see where people do. An IRA, a 401k, an IUL, or none of the above. 61% says IULs. Okay. 11 out of 3, 4 say none of the above. Interesting. Okay. Through an IUL, through an index universal life insurance policy, what's neat is you actually can have that money that's growing and you can borrow from it and the interest is still compounding. Well, how does that happen, Scott? You're actually borrowing from the death benefit. So that actually means you can pay it back and stuff with some interest or not pay it back. And when you die, it then pays back. It's a phenomenal strategy that people have been doing for over 100 plus years. That's literally how Walt Disney and Ray Kroc started their businesses. J.C. Penney's got himself out of a lot of mess back in, back around the Great Depression and everything through their life insurance policies, right? So I'm kind of wrapping up right there. I know that what we're going to do here is, I think we're going to open it up to a couple of different questions that you guys may have. We're also going to, again, what we do is we like to educate, we like to teach people about money here, about money, different strategies. Unfortunately, most of us are not educated and taught. We just don't know about if we can grow money without losing, have it be able to, leverage it and use it tax-free. So if you kind of want to know some more information, we're going to drop a survey. We're going to drop a link in there, either Denise or Kim, if you can, to just a little bit of your feedback. I love to always learn. Our company's always wanting to learn and grow. And so we're going to drop a link in there right now. If you can go on there and click on that. And if you want to know a little bit more information, if you just want to give us some feedback, but if you're like, hey, I want to learn a little bit more. I didn't know about this, Scott. I mean, a lot of people did not know about IULs and grow money tax-free, or you may be someone that says for a company or something like that you want to be able to build something for a company. Who knows? Go on there, fill out that. We'd love to hear back from you on that end. Because at the end of the day, knowledge is power, and we just want to educate and teach people. So why don't we go through here and for a little bit of time that we have left, we can open up to a couple of different questions.
Sure. Thanks, Scott. That was amazing. So I actually have a question I want to start with, but I encourage everyone else, please put your questions in the chat. I'll go through and we'll get through as many of these as we can in the next few minutes. But Scott, I guess my question is, I know there's limitations for like how much you can put into an IRA, and then there's income level limitations for how much you can earn and put into a Roth. Like, are there any similar type of limitations on either on income or on how much you can fund an IUL?
Yeah, actually, they just signed a new act, a new law and it retro back to the beginning of this year. The amount of money that you can now put into a life insurance plan triple. It's funny, right? It's right now we're hearing about Biden, all these rules of, hey, they're taxing the wealthy, they're taxing the wealthy. Guess what happened? They gave a backdoor that most people don't know, meaning that the amount that you can put into a life insurance plan, the amount just tripled the amount that you can put in, which means the cost of life insurance is lower and you can overfund it 3 times as much before. That means 3 times more is going towards your savings, towards indexing, than actually what's going towards the cost of life insurance, which basically means at this point now, nothing can really even compare to an IUL once you fund it correctly and you structure it properly.
Okay.
Did that kind of answer your question?
Yeah, no, it did. It did. And that actually goes to, there's a question in the chat. Someone wanted to understand, well, there's 2 questions I think that are kind of related. One is, someone wants to know, how did they get one? So I guess kind of, who do you call? Is this somebody you call your bank, your financial advisor? Like, how do you get one? And then how do you fund it? Like, what's the mechanism for funding an IUL?
Gotcha. So a couple of things too. You could go in your neighborhood life insurance agent. Maybe you know someone's a life insurance agent. Here's the problem with that. Most life insurance agents are taught to sell you life insurance. They're not taught to teach you how to use life insurance as a retirement plan. Phenomenal, like we just saw, phenomenal avenue to be able to grow money and build a phenomenal platform. Most life insurance agents aren't prepared, that they don't know. So I would say in our survey, you can go on there if you want to learn a little bit more, if you want to do a meet with us for a little bit, ask some different questions and stuff. We can show you and be able to structure it properly, because at the end of the day, building money through a life insurance for retirement plan should be designed to have massive growth, be able to build growth, not really for a life insurance type policy. If you want a lot of life insurance for a certain amount of time, term's the best thing. But if you want to have life insurance and start to build generational wealth, but be able to use life insurance for what it can do, not necessarily what it is, but what it can do. I would say hit quick on the survey. We can meet and stuff like that. I can have a couple of my experts meet with some people. We'll see if you have the right questions, and we'll help you out.
Okay, a couple more questions, Scott. So one question is just confirming that you can save money tax-free in life insurance. So I guess what you were saying earlier is it's the earnings that are tax-free, right? And is that remain tax-free even when the money goes to your beneficiary?
Yeah. Yep. So it is. So it's staying tax-free. It passes on. So unfortunately, if someone has money in the 401k, someone has money in IRAs and stuff, when someone dies, there's probate tax. Right? And there's also tax and stuff when that family member is taking it and using it and stuff. A lot of times there's a double tax. Start to throw it and grow it into life insurance, it's not being taxed at all. So for a lot of people, just by moving money into that avenue, a lot of times they're saving at least 30, 40, sometimes even 50% just on taxes alone by protecting it. And I can talk for days of just other people that didn't know these rules, and a lot of money went to the government when they passed. Some famous people and stuff. Elvis Presley is one of the most famous people that majority of his money when he died went to the government. Very little actually went to his daughter. But kind of that example.
Yeah. No, this is a really good question. So an attendee is asking do you have an analysis showing how a set investment amount, say 10,000, would have performed in the bond market, the stock market, and in an index annuity over the last 30 years, net of taxes and fees? So kind of taking a principal amount and showing how it would have performed across all the different homes that you talked about.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we actually do that when we meet with people. We kind of show them, how does an indexing do the last 10, 20, 30 years compared to like the S&P 500, right? S&P 500 is what everybody's trying to beat, right? About 5% of people beat of all your hedge fund managers. Only about 5% of hedge fund managers ever beat the S&P 500 on a yearly basis. Guess what? They're not the same 5% every year. Most people aren't. So it's showing up, how does it do compared to it? And actually over the last 20 years, it's typically doing better than that and stuff. So yeah, we show that. We're very, in the life insurance industry, being a fiduciary means protecting the client, doing what's right for the client, not what's doing right for the agent. You have a fiduciary right. What does that mean? We're going to show you the good, the bad, the ugly. What does that mean? We're going to show you every single fee, right? We're going to show you guarantees. What's worst case scenario happens? If the stock market crashes for 15 years, how is this going to perform? This just does average. How's this going to perform? That's kind of what we do. And again, kind of going back to your original question is, who you meet with is pretty important, because not all people, not all agents were really taught the right way to really structure it and really be a good fiduciary for their clients.
Great, awesome.
So when we meet with people, at the end of the day, they may already have the best things in sliced bread. We high five them and say, hey, great, stick with it.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes we don't, and we move. If it's better for you, we help people out. If it's not, I'm not moving any money. I'm not doing anything. It's if people, it's the right fit for them, we do.
Okay, great. Going once, going twice. Any other questions for Scott? Okay, well, thank you everyone for attending. Thank you, Scott, for all of this great information. I see a couple comments in the chat where people are saying, wow, I never knew this could work like this. So really glad that you were able to bring this information to our members here at FEI. Again, remind everyone for our next event with the Federal Reserve in June, and hope everyone has a safe summer. Thank you.
And again, thank you so much for having me on. Everyone have a blessed day.
You too.
Thank you.